Hello, and with this new retro core we're going to start off with Dead or Alive for the Sega Saturn. Now Dead or Alive was originally a game made for the Sega Model 2 arcade board, the same arcade board which ran the likes of Virtua Fighter 2. Interestingly though, the preferred version of this game, even by the creators, is the Sega Saturn version, due to its tidied up combinations, better timing and better hit detection. In fact, it's preferred so much by the makers of the game that it was featured on the Xbox version of Dead or Alive Ultimate Collection. The arcade version and the PlayStation version didn't even get a look in. Now of course the original Dead or Alive is pretty basic compared to the second game, and of course the third, fourth and fifth game. But for its time, it was really good. In fact, it still plays pretty good today. In fact, it's very close to Virtua Fighter 2. In my opinion anyway. Miles ahead of Tekken and all the others. And of course you got those bouncing breasts, which will keep all the perverts happy, including the producer of the game. So as you can see, the Sega Saturn version doesn't have the 3D effect using polygon backgrounds, but it does have a lovely Pursue 2D drawing effect, which does give the impression of depth. Also, the texture work on this version of Dead or Alive is absolutely fantastic, especially for the Sega Saturn. It was a game that really showed the machine could pull off 3D polygon fighters with good quality textures. So if you're the Sega Saturn fighting fan and you don't have Dead or Alive, what are you doing? Go and get yourself a copy right now. Seem to be featuring quite a lot of Atari arcade games recently, don't I? This is Toobin. Another game which I really enjoyed when I was a kid. These days though, it's a bit on the monotonous side after you've been playing for about 5 minutes. The idea of the game is pretty simple. Just jump into your inflated tyre and get down the river as fast as possible, avoiding various obstacles, crocodiles, sea monsters and crazy gunmen. For some reason the coloured guy seems to be blue. I'm not too sure what's going on there. And of course the white guy's your typical stereotype of a Californian with his sunglasses on and his bleached blonde hair. Control wise it's pretty interesting. You have 4 sets of buttons. 2 buttons control your forward motion being left and right hands. So of course you tap on the left to go, what would it be? You tap on the left button and you'd go right, and you tap on the right button and you go left. Yeah, that's it. And of course it's got 2 more buttons where you can actually do the reverse thing and go upwards up the screen. Of course to go straight you got to press both buttons at the same time, the front, left and right buttons. As a solo player game it is quite drab, to be honest. But you know, if you get a friend to join you in the excitement, Toobin can be quite a good laugh, especially with a couple of beers. And it's certainly aged quite well. Yeah, I know it's not necessarily a retro game, but this is a new feature I'm going to be doing here on RetroCore. Modern Retro. Now these days on your Xbox Live or your PlayStation 3 that is, there's loads of good brand new games which are based on classic games, and some of them are being redone to look a bit more modern. Some of them are just basic shitty emulations with crappy filters. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about. But every once in a while you get a classic which is being redone. Like this. This is Double Dragon Neon.
not this again.
While the game may not be an exact arcade port made to look modern, it does feature a lot of levels from the arcade plus some new levels. But the makers way forward have put a new twist into this game, which brings it up to the modern standards. The combination system is pretty much nothing like the original Double Dragon, but that's not a bad thing, because the combination system in this game is top. Now what you really can't see from this video is just how good it plays. You know, it may look a little bit on the sluggish side, but believe me, when you're playing this game, it's certainly not. In fact, I enjoyed this game so much, I dubbed it Streets of Rage 4 or Bare Knuckle 4. It's just a really good walk-along brawler. Now you may notice that I've been picking up audio cassettes. Well, these audio cassettes are actually used to power up various abilities of your character. So you pop into the tape shop here. Now some viewers of this game are probably thinking, what the hell's a tape? Well, a tape was what we had before CDs. So as you can see, there are various different abilities to power up here. Also, you got another shop where you use Mithril, which you only get by beating the main bad guy of the game. And these Mithril are used to power up your special moves. The whole game reeks of the 80s vibe, it really does. From the cheesy pop music to cheesy rock music. Even the colours which are used are pretty 80s style. I do love this. When you are playing a two-player game, when your partner dies, you actually revive them by spooling in the tape of a cassette. Oh man. Yeah, I remember doing that quite a lot when I was a child. Tape getting jammed in the bloody machine. Real hardcore players will be happy to know that the two-player mode does in fact feature two different modes, so you can have a 1 or 2 players where you don't actually hurt each other, or you can have a 1 or 2 player game where if you touch each other you'll actually lose energy, like the original arcade version, so you can beat the crap out of your mate as well. Now, special mention must go towards the soundtrack. It is absolutely epic. Like I said, it's got the cheesy pop, the cheesy rock in there, with loads of great instrumentals and remakes of the original Double Dragon themes. And you can actually buy it for any price you want on digital download. So you can pay $1 if you're a stingy bastard, or you can pay up to $50 if you're crazy. Just head over to this URL, which you can see on the bottom of the screen right now. Oh, I love these things. These are the tapeworms, yeah. Beat the crap out of them to get a load of money.
You got nowhere to run, Skullmageddon. Now where's Marion?
Oh, where are my manners? I haven't introduced you to the new and improved Marion. I call her Evil Marion.
I'm bad.
You evil jerk! You're going down!
Silence, butt.
And here we go with the main boss guy of the game. He appears every now and then throughout the game. Doesn't he resemble a very funny 80s cartoon skeleton villain?
Not so hasty.
He really does bring a lot of humour towards the game. Change from special, I think. So yeah, if you've got an Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3, why not get yourself a bit of Double Dragon Neon? You certainly won't be disappointed if walk-along brawling games are your thing. because this is one of the better ones. And what makes it even better, it's got some comeback ability due to the power-up options. One of my favourite games of the 90s, this is Night Striker. So today we're going to take a look at the arcade, Sega Saturn and the Mega CD version. And yes, I am aware that there is a PlayStation version, but basically it looks like the Sega Saturn version with a pretty much shorter draw distance. So yeah, it looks a bit crapper actually. So as you can see, all three versions have a pretty similar introduction. In fact, not a pretty similar introduction. All three versions have the exact same introduction. I'm quite impressed with the Mega CD down at the bottom. For some reason the arcade logo's disappeared. What's happened to that? Now the music you're listening to is the same on all versions of the game. Apart from the Mega CD, which does feature the original soundtrack, which you can hear right now, plus its very own arranged soundtrack. The Sega Saturn and the PlayStation version just featured the original arcade soundtrack. Now as I was saying, the PlayStation version does look just like the Sega Saturn version, but with a shorter draw distance, which means things sort of pop up in front of you. But apart from that, it's pretty much the same game as the Sega Saturn. Apart from the Sega Saturn version does feature a CG introduction and an extra mode, which you'll see later on. The PlayStation version is just basically an arcade port, but it is made by Ving, the same people who made the Sega Saturn version. So as you can see, the arcade detail is pretty good, but the Sega Saturn version, and of course the PlayStation version, looks better. They've redrawn all the sprites, whereas the Mega CD version is trying its best, but it's as blocky as hell. But still pretty impressive. It does look like the arcade, you can't complain. Now I must point out at this point in the game, let's say my Mega CD died, so that's why there's no Mega CD image at the bottom of the screen. I have to buy a new laser for my Mega CD, I think. So here we go, let's take a look at the original mode on the Sega Saturn game. I think this mode's called Extra Mode. Basically it's just Space Harrier. And you fly through 6 levels continuously, blowing the crap out of everything. Unfortunately, like I said before, it doesn't feature the arranged soundtrack which the Mega CD version's got. It only features the original arcade soundtrack, which is a bit of a shame. Because on the CG intro of the Sega Saturn version, it does have an arranged version of the main theme. Okay, so let's have a listen to the soundtracks. Here we got the original BGM. It's featured on the arcade, Saturn, PlayStation and Mega CD. Okay, now let's listen to the Mega CD exclusive music. Which one do you think's better? pains me to say this, but this is one hell of a shite Panzer Dragoon game. It's Panzer Dragoon Mini for the Game Gear. You get a choice of 2 dragons, pretty much the same to be honest. And this is your game, yeah. It's pretty much a very lame attempt at Afterburner with dragons. Actually, those red dragons sort of look more like pterodactyls to me. Now we all know that the Game Gear is technically limited, but you know, you could have brought something better than this to the system. Basically, you have 2 buttons to fire with. A button just fires off your standard attack. Well, I don't know, you can't really call it bullets, can you? Whereas the B button is a zoom-in homing attack, minus the laser effect. Basically, you just highlight the items and let go of the button and they disappear. You probably noticed that the music is a rendition of the Sega Saturn's music. This is stage 2 from Sega Saturn's Panzer Dragoon 2, if I remember rightly. Yeah, the game is very, very easy and extremely boring. Definitely a Panzer Dragoon game to miss out on. It's shite. Oh yeah, Cats Run. This is what you get when you cross Mario Kart with a load of realistic, well not realistic, a load of real cars and girls. Yeah, pretty shit game actually. So you got 2 modes of play. You got the normal follow the standard track or the 2-way where you can go in different directions. But basically that just confused the hell out of you, so best stick with the standard 1-way track. So you can choose one of your female characters to play as. And after you've done that, you can choose one of the real cars. Yes, all these were actual cars which were in production at the time when this game was made. In fact, crap like the Topo, the Jimmy, Wagoner, all that shit's still available now. Just little box cars which Japanese seem to love for some reason.
Are you ready? Go!
So yeah, as you can see, basically it's a bit of a Mario Kart clone. I hate to use the phrase Mario Kart clone, but that was one of the first. Well, then again, you could say it's an F-Zero clone because that was out before Mario Kart. But like with many clones, you can pick up items and throw them at the other drivers on the road. But unfortunately, in this game, the items are very, very sparse, and when you do see one, it's pretty much impossible to pick it up because they always seem to be placed in some obscure area which you're not actually going to be driving in, and you only get 1 item. So basically the items in this game are pretty useless. So as you can see, I'm playing the 1-player game here, and all you do is race and race and race and race through many, 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 many stages. In fact, there's that many stages I got bored. So yeah, I think it was about 5 minutes I was racing. I was thinking, when the hell are we going to come to the end? But it didn't, it just kept going on and on and on. See, that's the problem with Cats Run. Once you're in the front, there's not much to do except just stay on the track, which is not that difficult. Surprisingly, when you think about the controls, they're a little bit on the loose side and not really responsive enough. Here you go, there's an item. Yeah, I got it, it's a bag. And what does the item do? Yeah, it just flies off in front of you, like every other item in the game. To be honest, I think the only redeeming feature about this game is the 2-player mode. If you're playing the game in 2-player mode, then there's a lot more fun to be had because you can have a bit of a battle with your friends. But as a 1-player solo game, once you've completed it, there's not much reason to go back to it. I used to play the hell out of this game when I was a kid on my Sega Master System. This is Tri-Formation, or Zillion 2, whichever name you want to call it. And the game is very basic. You just hop on your bike for the first level and get to the end of the stage by shooting and jumping. Or you can go forward and backwards as well. But you may notice that the BGM is actually quite catchy. And that's because it's actually a reproduction of the original theme tune to the Zillion animation which the game is based upon. See? What is strange is they actually kept that BGM music, or the remake version of it, for the PAL version of this game, which is quite unusual. Not to mention the PAL version does sound worse because it doesn't have the FM synth on the sound chip like this Japanese version does. So here we go with stage 2, and it's a walk along platform shoot 'em up section. And it can be quite tough. The idea of these stages are to find the kidnapped members of your team. So once you've rescued them, it's back to the bike. Yeah. I bet you can guess what comes after the bike section. Yeah, that's right. More platforming. So Zillion doesn't actually have much variety, to be honest, and is extremely tough. But if you have to be a bit of a challenge in a simplistic game, then why not try Tri-Formation? Personally, I prefer the first Zillion game. It's got more to it.